Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this May 4th meeting of the Temple City Council. Time is about 10 after 5. Sorry, we're getting started a little late. If you'll please rise, the invocation will be led by Mr. Thomas Peckall with Temple Fire and Rescue, and then Willie Capps will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
God, our Father in heaven, we ask your blessing on this meeting this afternoon. Watch over our leaders, grant them wisdom, give them strength to make the decisions that need to be made. We thank you for the many blessings you've bestowed on us in life. We thank you for this day. Father, we ask you to watch over those who are in harm's way. Our soldiers, keep them safe, protect them. And Father, forgive us of the many times that we fail to meet up to your expectations. We ask these in your most blessed name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a number of proclamations and presentations to do this evening. A few, anyways, not a lot this evening. But before we get started, let me make a couple of announcements. Remind everybody about the air show coming up this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It should be a great event. Weather holds up, and there's a lot of great aircraft and a lot of fun times out at Temple Central Texas Regional Airport. And then also today is the National Day of Prayer. And this evening at 7 o'clock at the Expo Center is another event for the National Day of Prayer. You're available after this, and it should be a really nice event to go to. That's where I'm heading after council tonight. So, first we have a proclamation to present for Youth Week. Mr. Willie Capps. Thanks for being here tonight. From the Office of the Mayor, whereas the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks has designated the week of beginning May 1st as Youth Week to honor America's junior citizens for their accomplishments and to give fitting recognition to their services to community, state, and nation. Whereas Temple Elks Lodge number 138 will sponsor an observance during this week in tribute to the junior citizens of this community. Whereas no event could be more deserving of our support and participation than one dedicated to these young people who represent the nation's greatest resource and who in the years ahead will assume the responsibility for the advancement of our free society. Whereas our youth need the guidance, inspiration, and encouragement which we alone can give in order to help develop these qualities of character essential for future leadership. And whereas to achieve this worthy objective, we should demonstrate our partnership with youth, our understanding of their hopes and aspirations, and a sincere willingness to help prepare them in every way for the responsibilities and opportunities of citizenship. And now therefore I, William A. Jones III, Mayor of the City of Temple, Texas, do hereby proclaim the week of May 1st through 7th as Youth Week in the City of Temple, Texas. And I encourage all citizens to honor the youth in our community by expressing appreciation for their accomplishments and to let them know that we are proud of them. In testimony whereof I witness my hand in the seal of the City of Temple, Texas, this 4th day of May of 2006. Willie, thank you. And thank you to the Elks for all they do for our youth and for our community. And would you like to say a couple words about the activities? Get your mic.
Hello? I think everybody can pretty much hear me.
Yeah.
Small room. I'm Willie Capps, I'm the past president of Temple Elks Lodge. I'm the current youth activities director. Tonight at the lodge, we will be honoring 3 youth from Kennedy Powell Elementary that are state winners in the coloring contest, drug awareness coloring contest. Tornado Maine, first place state, and we had a second and a third, second and a fourth. Also, we'll be honoring 2 Eagle Scouts tonight. Getting the regular Scout Troop 153. Big kid. She's Lonzo Wallace for getting our Citizen of the Year award tonight.
Morgan with Proctor Chiropractic. Doctor or?
Me?
Yes? No? Okay.
I wish.
Okay. It's my pleasure to present this proclamation to you on behalf of the Kids America International. Whereas the health and well-being of children is our responsibility. Whereas the safety of our children is a significant concern for parents, excuse me, community leaders, and healthcare providers. Whereas the environmental welfare is of universal concern and deserves the utmost attention. And whereas, if started in childhood, proper health, safety, and environmental habits can be maintained for a lifetime, producing a valued member of society and enhancing our community. Now therefore I, William A. Jones III, Mayor of the City of Temple, Texas, do hereby proclaim May 20th of 2006 as Kids Day America International in the City of Temple, Texas, and I encourage all citizens to dedicate this day in the efforts of doctors of chiropractic in helping educate all persons on the importance of health, safety, and environmental issues affecting our community. In testimony whereof I witness my hand and the seal of the City of Temple, Texas, this 4th day of May of 2006. Congratulations.
My name's Michelle Morgan. I'm a chiropractic assistant for Dr. Barbara Proctor. This is the first year we're doing this here in Temple. We're inviting all the kids in the area. It's free to everybody. The fire department's going to be out there with their fire safety house and robot. The police department's going to be out there doing free fingerprinting. Dr. Roush will be out there doing dental screenings for the children. We'll be doing spinal screenings for the kids, jump houses, everything related to kids. It's completely free. So it's going to be a great day. It's from 10 to 2 at Ralph Wilson. We're hoping everybody will come. All the proceeds that we raise are going to benefit the Children's Advocacy Center of Bell County and the Ralph Wilson Youth Club. So we hope everyone comes out there. Rain or shine, we'll be there. So thank you.
I needed you to use the mic because you're on TV. I didn't want to tell you that beforehand. All right. Next proclamation is going to be presented by Mayor Pro Tem Martha Tyler.
This is to be presented to Mr. Bob Parks. This is the man behind all the pictures for the APAC, and they go out all over the community for the animals. Now, Bob, come over here. I'm not going to bite you. Not this time. Okay. And if you'll watch it, because you're going to be on television. It's your turn to be in the picture. Okay. From the Office of the Mayor, who is Bill Jones. Proclamation. Whereas cats and dogs have been special companions to humans for centuries and have offered us never-ending supplies of love, loyalty, and devotion. They offer us everything they have to give and only ask a small portion of their adoration in return. Whereas the City of Temple is greatly honored to recognize Bob Parks for his many, many contributions to enhancing the care of animals in our community. He has been the official pet photographer for the Pets of the Week pictures for 10 years. He is a member of the Board of Directors for APAC, Association of Pet Adoption Center, where he has also served as secretary, as well as being instrumental in the board's founding in 1998. He further assists the city through his service on the site selection committee for the new animal shelter. Whereas Bob Parks is a true inspiration to all those who know him, and he diligently works to promote a true spirit of kindness and consideration for animals in the hearts and minds of all people. And whereas the City of Temple is indeed fortunate to have a partnership with his dedicated volunteerism, who diligently works for the care of our loyal animal friends. Now, therefore, with the hand of the Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and the entire City Council and the city, I will say, we declare today Bob Parks Day for outstanding service to the City of Temple through his care and concern for our animal shelter residents. And I encourage all citizens to join him in expressing to him our deepest appreciation for his outstanding contribution to the care of our animals. Congratulations, Mr. Parks. Mr. Parks, I'm going to let you take this proclamation, but I also want you to know that you like to take all those pictures of all those fuzzy animals, so we want you to have something.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So congratulations. And Mr. Parks, from the bottom of my heart, I always look forward to all those pictures on the computer.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And our adoption rate is going up, and I'd like you to talk about the foster care that we're going to start giving to animals.
Well, that's the
Here we go.
Here's
low
the
cost. Our new program is a spay or neuter program for low cost spay or neuter for people that can't afford to have it done otherwise. And you can pick up the forms to enroll for that program at the City Animal Shelter at 31st Street and H underneath the overpass.
Thank you.
Okay.
Congratulations. There you go. There you go. Bye-bye. For those of you that know Mr. Parks, always remember that when you see his truck, he always has his puppy dog in the front seat, and sometimes you really wonder who's driving, Mr. Parks or his dog. Congratulations.
Next is a presentation from Mr. Thomas Peckall, Temple Fire and Rescue, and I'd like to ask representatives from the different organizations here, Temple Rotary South, the Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association, Temple Parks Foundation, and the Benevolent Protector Order of the Does, number 139, to come forward. Thomas, you want to use this? That way you can face that.
We have 9 AEDs being presented tonight, and this is a credit to our Public Safety Advisory Board, which back in 2004 initiated Jumpstart a Heart program, a public access defibrillator program, to reduce the time once a person drops to the ground in cardiac arrest to the point that someone is there providing immediate care, something beyond the step of CPR. Council approved the purchase of 10 AEDs back in 2004 to get that program initiated, and I'm happy to report that currently we have 37 AEDs combined in either police cars or city buildings in Temple that are protecting the citizens of Temple. In addition, we have a total of 89 AEDs that have been purchased through businesses, churches, civic groups that have made this possible. So not only are city buildings protected, but our local churches, some of the businesses here in Temple where people work. So I think that's a credit to a lot of those individuals. If we could have Chief Smith to come forward, please. And our first one, since we have so many, we brought 2 tonight. The first one will be from Miss Valerie Engel from Temple Rotary South, and they'll be presented to Chief Smith, Miss Patricia Rye with the Railroad and Heritage Museum, and then Mr. Mike Olson with the Temple Water Treatment Plant.
On behalf of Rotary Club of Temple South, just go out and save some lives with those.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's where I brought 2. Next one, Mr. Bill Bryan with Citizens Police Academy alumni will be presenting to Chief Smith.
Safe. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
And then with the Temple Parks Foundation, Mr. Charles Stout to Mr. Ken Sikora for the 1 unit going to the Friendship House and 1 unit going to the Salmons Golf Course.
The Parks Foundation is pleased to have had a small role in this. thanks to Jack Morris, who got a grant to buy these, and Ken, we would like to give these to you for Friendship House and golf course.
And then one last one for Chief Smith from the Benevolent Patriotic Order of Does. Standing in will be Mr. Willie Capps, presenting to Chief Smith.
Thank you very much. Obviously, I'm not one of the ladies. Of course, without the ladies, the Elks would be nothing, of course. The ladies have a very aggressive program. This is probably their 5th or 6th one they've bought for the police department since they've been having bingo and making money of their own. So, save somebody's life, Chief. Hopefully not mine, but.
Thank you very much. Chief Smith, if you want to say.
We're very appreciative of all the support the community gives us, but particularly in this area where we get to do some really wonderful things, and our officers go out every day wanting to do good things, and there is absolutely nothing better in a police officer or firefighter's life than to actually have played a role in saving another person's life. There's nothing more rewarding for us, and I think everybody in this room would agree with that. So we're very, very thankful for this gift. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to all who have contributed to the funds or to the organizations for the funds given for these AEDs. This is a very important thing for our community, and we've gotten to see the benefit of the work of the AEDs in recognizing some lives that have been saved as a result of having AEDs in our community. Next item on our agenda is to receive the demonstration of the new web-based utility payment system that will allow the City of Temple utility customers to conveniently make utility payments through the use of the Internet. Mr. Delora is going to make this presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. I appreciate the time tonight. What we're introducing tonight is a new way to pay over the Internet to pay your utility bills. And we will be offering this, actually it will start May 10th. And our bills, our next round of bills actually go out May 10th. So we will have a flyer that will actually go out and introduce the new system to the citizens of Temple. So, and it will explain to them how to log in. We will actually have an item on our website that will actually follow a process to log in and apply for that, to get into the system. So they can create a PIN number. They'll have a username or user ID, which is their account number, but they will also have a PIN number, which they will create online. What I want to do right now is I just want to go through the system, try to go through the workflow of the application itself to see what type of information is actually out there in the system online. This is actually my information currently. This is, I think everybody's seen this. And I actually did sign up for Keep Temple Beautiful. It's not showing up on here, but I did. No, I did. And but this will actually, when you log in, you will actually see your account information, the customer, the phone number, and account status, which means active or disconnected or non-active. And it will actually go account balance, you know, what my current balance is, and past due, which I have none. I've paid my bill on time, so that hasn't always been the case. I've been late a few times, so I'm sorry. I've actually paid the penalties. We also have information that applies to the payment history, so I can actually see the dates that I've actually paid, and that a payment has been applied to the system. So this is real time right now. I also have to make payments. There's actually on demand, and on demand means that you go in once, the system will save your credit card or bank information in the system, and it's secure. But what allows you to do it, once you do it, you do not have to keep on entering in your credit card information or however you want to pay. So, and then there's also immediate, which allows you every time to provide your credit card number. So if you want to pay that way without having that information on the system, you can actually do it that way also. And that, I know that appeals to a lot of people, so we offer it both ways. We can also see the consumption history. And right now, because drainage fees, solid waste, and I'm a residential customer, wastewater are all non-metered, but my water is metered. So I can actually see that information. I can actually view the period by graph. I can see the billing periods, the number of days. This is for April 2006, the top line. Number of days, 27. My daily usage, and my total usage, which is 12,400 gallons for that month. It also gives me an average daily use of 840 gallons, an average 30-day usage. I can actually see by period. If I want to view in different, I can actually see based on the years. So for example, currently this is December. In the green, that's 2005. In the blue, 2004 and 2003. And you can go by all months back to my current, which is April is my last bill. So you can see that information online. You can see your consumption history. We also have the billing history again, and you've seen this information previously on the current charges and total amounts due. Go ahead. You gonna say something? Oh, okay. Oh, that's. You can also see your bill online that you actually receive in the mail. So this was actually the billing statement that was sent out. You can see that information. You can also see the service summary of what your status is for the account, but also the service dates. Excuse me. But also the service dates that apply to these, and then an average charge. Again, this brings us back to our charts again on history. You can see this more in water, the charges that I've had in the past 12 months. You can also edit your account. If you have information that need to change or your billing address changes, you can actually edit it online. And you can also change your PIN number, which allows you to, if somehow you feel somebody has compromised your PIN, you can actually change that number. You can also email the city if you need any help. So this information, oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me? There we go. And actually a message, you can actually send a message to that utility office. I couldn't see it was hidden in the background. But this is information that you will actually be able to see, and we will actually send this out on the bills on May 10th. And this is the flyer that's actually going to be going out with those utility bills. And it's going to be a flyer announcing this new service and available services that apply to this, and available information online, such as detailed statements, historical billing information, water consumption history, and it tells you actually how to register. So, or you can call for help. That information will also be in our website. Call for if you need any assistance, have any questions, that information will be out there. So, but I think this is going to be a great service for the city. It's another opportunity for people to pay online. A lot of people do it through their banks currently, their credit cards. So this is another opportunity that we're applying to, and meeting the goals of providing resources to our citizens. So I think this is a great program, and I will take any questions anybody may have.
Thank you, sir. Questions from the council?
How does it show winter water averaging the impact of that? Can you tell?
I don't, Amy, does it, yes.
Just restate the question if you would.
Okay. Will it show any information on your winter water average? And the answer is it will show on your bill. It would just show the information that's, yes, on it. Yes.
Okay. If there are no other questions, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council.
Next item on our agenda is an opportunity for public comment. Citizens who desire to address the council on any matter may sign up to do so prior to the meeting. Public comments will be received during this portion of the meeting. Please limit the comments to 3 minutes, and no discussion or final action will be taken by the council. First, we have Christina Mcneil. Ms. McNeil.
Mayor Jones, council members, my name is Christina Mcneil. I live at 2701 Valley Forge, and I think you're familiar with me. I wanted to come and say thank you very much for denying the zoning change for our neighborhood in Northwest Hills. Mr. and Mrs. Kenny Cummings and all of our neighbors I've spoken with are truly thankful that you have chosen to support the original zoning. By your actions, you have preserved the value of our property and the quality of our life in this Northwest Hills neighborhood. We are all truly, truly grateful for your action. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. McNeil. Mr. Travis Brett.
During this last windstorm, we had.
Could you state your name and address for the record, sir?
My name is Travis Brett. I live at 102 East Shell Avenue in Temple, Texas.
Thank you, sir.
Now, over on Houston, I have owned 2 lots over there. According to my deeds, I only own 140 feet. The city used to have an alley behind there. It doesn't even show, well, you can see where the square part is back there. That still technically belongs to the city. Somewhere along the line where the dark red mark is there, that's the sewer line. You don't even have any records on your sewer line that you even have a sewer line there, and you don't have any easement across that piece of property showing that you have an easement. And it used to be an alley all the way down, including that part that's still left as an alley on those 2 lots. I've had city people looking up records and so forth. They can't find any records of where that was ever deeded to anybody for those other additional 10 so-called feet that's been added to my property over these years. So what happened is when the wind came up, it knocked 1 tree down over across the fence into the other lot adjacent behind this lot. But what's still there is 2 trees. One of them's completely dead that stands to damage at Cuddy Corner across the other fence, a building that's been put up there. And what my opinion of it is, that's because you can't show me that you even have a sewer line there, no easement. You can't show me where you ever closed the alleyway, that's still your property, even though people have put fences up, including on Lot 2. Lot 2 is right down almost where that red mark is. That shows 140 feet to that back line. Well, my deed shows I have 140 feet to this line on Lot 5. But all of a sudden I've gained 11 feet. How did I gain 11 feet if you didn't have something back there? And how come it doesn't show your sewer lines or anything else back there? So what I'm saying is I think the city should, so that no more hazards happen out there, that they remove those 2 trees that are temporarily intended to damage other people's property within that. Being you have no record, technically you couldn't even get on my property, even work on the sewer line, because you don't have the easement. It doesn't even show. The city drew me up a map of where your sewer lines go. It doesn't show anything on that map where your sewer line, that anything goes behind those houses where the sewer line is. It doesn't even show you even have an easement. So if you don't have an easement and you got your sewer lines there, I'm sure you wouldn't have gave up your sewer line rights and gave up the alley rights where the sewer line went unless it was designated on some record somewhere along the line that showed that it was given to the abutting property owner or they had to pay for it like you do now. So my intention is, then you can't show me any records that shows that the city doesn't still own this. Benz, they still own the lot 2 back there that I have maintained all these years since I've owned it and cleaned it up and so forth. Was technically was your responsibility because it's public domain. It wasn't my property. So I contend that all the way up that whole line should have been public domain because you have your sewer lines and you have your stuff in there, which you don't even show. So that's my thought on the whole situation. I'd like to get that taken care of one way or the other. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for being here, Mr. Brett. Next, we have Mr. David L. Reeders.
Yes.
Did I get that correct?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
My name is David L. Reedus. I stay at 704 Bunker Hill Drive. And they're supposed to be building some duplexes behind our home. And my concern was, will our property increase or decrease, or will there be a fence, because of trespass and all that? That's all I need.
Okay. I didn't know that was what your item was. There will be a public hearing on that item, so if you wish to ask questions during that time,
Okay.
and we can
That'll be fine.
discuss that and
Thank you, sir.
decide if you can stay around for just a little bit longer. Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All items listed under this section consent are considered to be routine by the City Council and may be enacted by one motion. If discussion is desired by the council, any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of a council member, and it will be considered separately. And this is item 6, items A through L. Are there any items that any council member wishes to remove from consent for individual consideration or discussion?
Item G.
Remove item G from the consent agenda. Any other items? If not, we'll entertain a motion on items 6A through L, with the exception of item G.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion is second to approve item 6, all but G. No discussion, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Jeter?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard?
Aye.
Councilmember Linda?
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye. Item G is to consider adopting a resolution authorizing a professional services agreement with Casper, Patrick & Associates, LP of Temple in an amount of $110,000 for engineering, design, bid phase, and construction phase services required for the extension of West Temple wastewater from its current termination west of State Highway 317 to a point west of Lakewood Elementary School, and to declare an official intent to reimburse this expenditure made prior to the issuance of tax-exempt obligations for this project. Mr. Olson, and is there a specific question you want to ask, Mr. Schneider?
I would just like to see the extent of that, which I know in the description down there it shows a part of the force main not being bid at this time, not part of this package. But just kind of go over what part you're bidding, from what part, where it starts on 317, going west, and where it's going to be terminated.
It starts.
Get a map of that. Could you just show that? I had some folks interested in this item.
Kind of hard to see, but it will tie on to the existing sewer line that's in the 317 area that was just completed, extended out there, and it will go just to the west of the school that's out there, Lakewood Elementary School.
Right there is that's the proposed lift station right there, which is next to Lakewood Elementary School. Okay, and then the proposed water line goes out 2305 out to 2271.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then what you're proposing for the future force main is heading this direction?
Yes, sir.
Towards the south?
Yes, sir. That would be
And then out
another
to
project.
another lift station, which then goes out to right on
2271 by the dam.
2271 right there.
So basically, the departure bidding out this time would be from 317 to Windmill Farms, going west down 2305 to just west of Lakewood Elementary?
Yes, sir.
On the north or south side of the road?
I believe it'd be on the north side.
North side of the road. Okay. That's all I really.
And it will require one lift station. The only thing that will be tied in at this time would be the Lakewood Elementary School. There would have to be more projects to get the St. Andrews area and then the Lakewood Branch area. So this is, while the construction is going on, would be to get out there. But it,
So to go further, it will require the lift station in the future to go out further to the west or to tie into those residential areas there.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Other questions from the council? Thank you, Mr. Olson. Entertain a motion on item 6G.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve item 6G. Further discussion? Madam Secretary?
Councilmember Jeter?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Toa?
Aye.
Councilmember Linda?
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
And Mayor, can I make a request, please?
Sir?
Would it be possible to switch this around and do that item number 9 next? I have a babysitter leaving in 25 minutes that I have to go relieve.
Okay. And you would like to cover that item right now?
Yes, sir, please.
Glad to. All right.
Number 10.
We'll do,
9.
We'll do number 9 at this time as a first reading and a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance authorizing a zoning change from manufactured homes to two-family district on lots 2 and 3, Block 3, Crestview 2nd Extension, located at 1105 South Terrace Street. And Mr. Walker.
Members of the City Council, we have before us our first case of request for changing zoning from MH, which is was set aside for manufactured homes. The mobile homes were located on that particular site in the past. Those homes have been removed, and we have a request for rezoning to two-family for the purpose of construction of a duplex on the property. I don't have to change it. I'm sorry, I don't have it. The comprehensive plan in the area calls for it to be moderate density, thereby this particular zoning request is in compliance with that zoning case. We sent out some 29 notices. We received 4 back in favor and none in opposition. At this time, I call upon Chair Susan Long to make a very complex recommendation from our Planning and Zoning Commission.
We're not repeating 2 weeks ago. Mayor, council members, at the April 17th, 2006 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, the commissioners held a public hearing to consider the zone change as has been outlined. There were 7 commissioners present. The vote was 7-0 unanimously in favor of this request.
Thank you, Chairman. Council, are there any questions or discussions on this item? If not, I'll declare the public hearing open. Anyone wishing to speak before the council on this item, please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
My name is David Patterson. My address is 2116 West Avenue H. I'm the owner of the property. This time we just want to build a site-built house and do away with the mobile home and just comply with the rest of the neighborhood and appreciate it.
Manufactured home.
Correct.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Benson. Anyone else wishing to speak before the council on this item? Seeing no one wishing to speak, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Council?
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion and a second for approval of item number 9 for the rezoning. If there's no further discussion, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Jeter?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Toa?
Aye.
Councilmember Linda?
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Mayor.
Next item is item 10, first reading and a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance authorizing a zoning change from general retail district to two-family district and consider an amendment to the West Temple Comprehensive Plan to reflect medium-density residential uses on lots 1, 4, and 5, Block 3 of Northwest Hills Commercial, located at 701 and 709 Redcoat Drive and 2908 Salisbury Drive.
All right,
Mr.
Mayor, we
Walker.
have on the screen a vicinity map showing the particular tract is
being requested for rezoning from GR, which is general retail, to two-family for the purpose of construction of duplexes. Probably located at Salisbury. This is Salisbury. This is Redcoat. Have an aerial there, an aerial photo of the site. The property, I'm going to back up one slide so I can further depict. We have SF3. We have some single-family homes immediately to the east. To the west, we have a assisted living facility immediately across the street in this area. This particular, no, I believe it's this track, right? No, this track, I'm sorry, has the kidney center facility.
Dialysis. Isn't it the dialysis?
Dialysis, yes, ma'am. And then the Northwest Hills Park is immediately to the north of this particular tract. Brought some just some pictures of the area. Once again, you'll see the single-family development to the east. The park is hazy; you can't see it, but the property is have been platted from 3 lots into 6 lots for the purpose of constructing the duplexes on each one of those lots. The current zoning permits, current zoning being GR, the current zoning permits the installation and construction of duplexes. So this particular request comes to you initiated by the city staff, so that we could bring the actual use into compliance with the zoning. So they could construct duplexes on the property with GR. We just asked that we be permitted to rezone the property to two families, so therefore the use would be in compliance.
So it's a total housekeeping thing. I mean,
Just a housekeeping thing, yes, sir.
this doesn't preclude any that particular development at all.
No.
Okay.
What this does is basically, this would have been allowed, but you're essentially restricting it from going beyond the duplexes now.
That's
and
correct.
doing as much as general retail allowed.
Yes, sir. We have pyramid zoning in this case. Duplexes are permitted in a commercial zoning classification, and you know, it's been staff position, we need to relook at that philosophy, and we're simply trying to tighten the controls for the area.
So you can't go any in that what it's currently zoned. You can't go any denser than a duplex, though, correct? Or can you go? You can't go into a full.
I don't. You cannot. Not in GR. We're not permitted to have multifamily.
What about SF3 duplexes on?
No, it's single family. SF3 is a single family development.
Well, that's what you've got that marked on the map.
That's
Right.
SF3.
SF3, is that the adjacent property?
That's this property right here. That little line, you can't sell it, but this is the
Okay.
property. It's
Oh,
zoned
I see.
SF3.
Okay.
So,
I'm sorry, the map is just not very clear.
I see.
The property in question is zoned GR. This is the zoning classification for this particular tract.
That property
That
to the
point-
right is SF3.
Yes, and that's the single family development to the right.
Thank you.
At this time, we stand available for questions. The Chair Long will make the formal recommendation. The property is master planned, and I think I probably need to back up to that. The property is master planned to be neighborhood commercial, neighborhood retail, and commercial. However, based upon the fact that they can already use the property as residential for the two-family, we feel it's appropriate to go ahead and change the master plan for the property and provide for it to be moderate density.
So the houses that butt that, you guys are property owners of one. So you're one of those 3 houses that are right there with a fence. Okay.
Okay, right here.
This, what you're requesting, actually provides them or affords them a little bit more protection in some respects, correct?
Certainly, yes. General retail is a very relaxed commercial zoning classification.
Okay.
It's not neighborhood commercial or office type zoning. This is general retail, which has a great deal of latitude for development for commercial uses.
So this ultimately will protect those properties.
This will, yes, yes.
Or protect.
It'll certainly be an excellent buffer. You know, if there won't be anything go across the street because of the nursing home facility, but it'll certainly be a buffer to the area and hold true.
So we can't necessarily, the quality of the housing is we can't control, but we can definitely try to protect it by tightening in the zoning like you're proposing. So
Yes, sir.
That makes sense to you guys?
parking an issue? I mean, dumping off again 2 lots on a collector?
We addressed that at the DRC and with the plat process. These are rather large lots for the duplex development, and we're going to have adequate room for substantial yards and parking.
So this will go through a plating process.
It's already been platted.
Okay, so there is, I think back about the last meeting where we had a similar situation where they were trying to do the fourplexes and those. Are there
That was on this track, right?
correct? Are there things that we can be more proactive in trying to strongly encourage plan development type things so as to protect the integrity of an overall neighborhood in these type of scenarios as well?
Yes, Jonathan Graham has initiated a series of strategic planning areas, and this is one of our areas that my particular committee is targeting for an overlay purpose.
Okay.
Salisbury. It needs to be. It's going to be very unique in development.
Well, we just need to make sure that we are being as diligent as the law allows in terms of trying to maintain integrity in that neighborhood and keeping it from things coming in that are going to detract on the quality of life in retail applications, but as well as residential applications that may do that. So, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chair Long, make a formal recommendation.
Could be a little more brief this time.
Oh, I'll try. Mr. Mayor and council members, we looked at this also at the April 17th, 2006 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. We held a public hearing on the item to consider the zone change and the amendment to the West Temple Comprehensive Plan. Again, there were 7 commissioners present. The vote was 7-0 unanimously in favor of both items. Not as brief.
Thank you. This item requires a public hearing. I'll declare the public hearing open at this time. Anyone wishing to speak before the council on this item, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Mr. Readers, have we had your questions addressed? All right, very good. Seeing no one wishing to speak, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Any further discussion or questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 10, the zoning change from general retail to two-family. No further discussion, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Jeter?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Tyler? Aye. Councilmember Lunas?
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye. Item 7 is a first reading and a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance setting out the civil service classifications and the number of positions in each classification in the Temple Police Department, changing the position of commander to deputy chief, and setting out the requirements for appointment to the position and changing senior patrol officer to corporal. Ms. Olson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Chapter 143 of the Local Government Code requires that the council establish by ordinance the classifications in the police department and in the fire department. Following the compensation study that was completed by Ray & Associates, it was recommended that the following title changes be made in the police department to be more in line with other similar positions in other cities. And these changes were approved by the Civil Service Commission at their May 1st meeting. The first is to change the position of commander to deputy chief, and the second is to change the position of senior officer to corporal. Along with changing the position title to deputy chief, we needed to establish the requirements for appointment to that position. So we are recommending changing the requirements as follows. No person shall be eligible for appointment as a deputy chief who has not served as a lieutenant or continuously served for a minimum of 2 years as a sergeant in the department. That expands the number of people that the chief has to interview for this position and make the appointment to that position. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have, and Chief Smith is here as well to answer anything.
Thank you, Ms. Olson. Council, any questions? Chief, any comments you'd like to make on this item before we go into a public hearing?
Certainly, Mayor, never turn out a chance to speak.
Great. Glad to have you here, sir.
Certainly, the department's very supportive of this change. Would brief the council that shortly after I became chief, of course, we had some changes in city management, and after Mr. Blackburn came on board, we discussed this very issue prior to the completion of the study by Ray & Associates, and this is something that I personally wanted to do ever since becoming chief. I believe it's important to to establish the second-in-commands. As such, commander in policing can be a little bit generic, to be honest with you. And certainly wanting to be sure that our senior officers now, or corporals hopefully in the near future, are seen more as a supervisory level than they are currently. I think that would certainly reinforce their positions. As far as expanding the pool of people that a chief of police would want to be able to look at to determine who would be the next in command of a department should something tragic happen to me, or I reach that point where I go to greener pastures, if you will, then certainly the person that you would need to turn to in my absence needs to be a very qualified person. And I think the broader that pool is, the more strength a person can bring to the job, and would certainly be something I would look forward to being able to do when I need to do that. So, any questions?
Chief, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Council, if there are no further questions, this item requires public hearing. I'll declare the public hearing open at this time. Anyone wishing to speak before the council on this item, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Seeing no one wishing to speak, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Council?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the item changing the positions for Temple Police Department. If there's no discussion, Madam Secretary.
Mayor President Powell. Aye. Councilmember Neuter. Aye. Councilmember Schneider.
Aye.
Mayor Jones.
Aye. Item 8 is a first reading and a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance amending the Tax Increment Financing Reinvestment Zone Number 1 financing plan for fiscal year 2006 through 2015 to reflect increased funding needed for various projects. Ms. Bernard.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. As you just mentioned, this item includes amending the financing plan for 2006, from 2006 to 2015. We could basically summarize it in 4 categories. Additions to the financing plan include rail spur improvements of $1.3 million, funds allocated for detention pond of $100,000, some road improvements on Windland Road of $650,000, $2.5 million for the Bioscience Institute, the city's participation in that, and that will be paid over 3 fiscal years. It's included in the financing plan for years 2006 through 2008. It also includes additional funding to the Southeast Industrial Park for road improvements of $1.5 million. These funds were funded from the additions to the plan were funded by shifting other projects around from year to year within the financing plan and allocating the monies from generic public improvements. Also included in the financing plan amendment is funding that's allocated for downtown improvements. 5% of the reinvestment fund revenues are allocated for downtown improvements. We're amending the financing plan by advance funding, 2 years worth of funding to pay for the Han Hotel, or reimburse the general fund for that recent purchase. The other deferred funding includes funding within the northern zone, moving projects forward, the western aviation zone, which is projects around the airport, kind of deferred some of those until years 2009 through 2012, and then split the gateway entrance projects between 2 years. I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding those amendments.
Thank you, Ms. Bernard. Council, are there any questions on the amendments to the financing plan?
If the Han Hotel sold to another individual, would that reimbursement be made back down to downtown? Is that how that would work?
Yes, they would. That was discussed at the reinvestment zone meeting when this amendment was proposed, and if it was sold for $340,000 or less, it would go back to the zone.
Any questions? There being none, this item requires a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak before the council on this item, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. I'll declare the public hearing open. Seeing no one wishing to speak, I declare the public hearing closed. Council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the Tax Increment Financing Reinvestment Zone Number 1 financing plan amendments. Been no discussion, Madam Secretary.
Mayor Pro Tem Towle? Aye. Councilmember Luna?
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye. Item number 11 is to consider adopting resolution appointing members to the following city boards and commissions. We have a position open on Building Board of Appeals, a position open on Building and Standards Commission. We do not have any recommendations for those two positions at this time, but we do have a recommendation on the third item as a Convention Center and Tourism Advisory Board member to fill an unexpired term through September 1st of 2007. It's recommended that Mr. Gene Pillai, who is with the Super 8 Motel, be appointed to the board to fill that unexpired term, and he has previously served on the Convention Center and Tourism Advisory Board. If there are no questions from the council on that recommendation, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the recommendation of an appointment of Mr. Gene Pillai to the Convention Center and Tourism Advisory Board. Madam Secretary?
Mayor Pro Tem Towle? Aye. Councilmember Luna?
Aye.
Councilmember Schneider?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our agenda for this evening. Thank you very much for your attention and your attendance this evening. We are adjourned. Don't forget the air show this weekend.